Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise, do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
All the readings we have listened to today on this most important feast of Transfiguration of Jesus Christ, all of them has a kind of reference to heaven or discussion about heaven or heavenly events. The first reading from the book of Daniel was about heaven. The vision of Daniel about heaven, thrones opened, and he could see one sitting on the throne, and then the Son of Man, and everything there. Heavenly arrangements, heavenly array. Then the second reading was a discussion by the Apostle Peter about heaven. And of course, what happened in the gospel. And then to crown it all, the gospel event was the real transfiguration of Jesus Christ before the eyes of his disciples. It was a real event. It wasn't a story. It happened. It was witnessed by 3 apostles. It was an encounter. So for me, today is all about reminding us about heaven, the reality of heaven. In fact, Jesus Christ wants to tell his apostles, this is who I am. This is me. This is my real me. This is me, you know. People say the real me, the mini me, you know what I mean? Me, you know. He was telling them, this is me. This is who I am. And to confirm that, Moses and Elijah came down to the mountain and they were discussing with Jesus. My brothers and sisters, as I said earlier, today was a moment of glorification of Jesus Christ. But for us, like the apostles, what is it for us? It's a reminder of the reality of heaven. It's a reminder that we, in our experiences of life, as we go through the hustles and bustles of life, we have our moments of heaven. We have our encounters with heaven. God did not just leave us here alone to be all by ourselves. There are moments we experience him. There are moments we encounter him. There are moments we feel like we are in heaven. I am sure you have felt heavenly. Not when you were happy with things of the world, no. But really when you have encountered Jesus Christ and you know that this is real. We encounter him in many ways. In the sacraments, for instance. And most especially, okay, let's take, for example, when you go to confession, Have you had an experience of confession? People don't know. I mean, that's a very awesome experience. When you walk out of the confessional or when you walk out of confession with the priest, how do you feel? You feel like a heavy burden has been lifted off your shoulder. That's moment of heaven. What of the Eucharist? An encounter with Jesus Christ on the altar of sacrifice. Moments of heaven. Now let's not leave the church. Let's leave about spirituality. Let's go out there in the whole world. How many times have you felt like you were in heaven when you acted rightly? When you behaved rightly? When you did the right thing? You look back and say you were happy with what you did. Moments of heaven. How many times have you fallen asleep and you woke up and say, yes, tonight was a sleep with God? Moments of heaven. How many times have you felt that you were not all by yourself? You were not lonely, even when everybody seems to have deserted you? Moments of heaven. My brothers and sisters, Peter said, Lord, it is good that we are here. Let us stay here permanently. Whoever desires to stay on a place permanently, that's eternity. Peter was desiring to be in eternity already. But Jesus Christ said, no, not yet. Let's go down and continue the job we're doing. My people, sometimes we feel like, let's go to heaven. What are we doing here? Oh, yes, that's a feeling of a child of God. That's a feeling you have to have sometimes. I wish to go to and be with the Father, be with Jesus Christ, be with the angels, be with my patron saints, That's what I desire sometimes. That's moments of heaven. My brothers and sisters, what's the message of today? Hold on strongly to your moments of heaven. Oh, yes. Peter does not want to let go. So me too, sometimes I don't want to let go my moments of heaven because very blissful, very encouraging, very strengthening. Because when you have heaven, you have everything you need. When you have the joys and the bliss and happiness and assurances of heaven, what else are you doing? Whom should you fear? Nobody. That's who we are. We are people of heaven. We are children of heaven. We are the disciples of the King of heaven. We are the followers of Jesus, the King of kings in heaven. Let's be encouraged as we march on following our leader, Jesus Christ. May God bless you today.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquae meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.